What is going on, 49er fans? The San Francisco 49ers are celebrating today on Victory Friday with this dominating performance by the 49ers against the Seattle Seahawks on Thanksgiving. So, what we're going to do today is we are going to react. We've had time to sleep on it. We've had an opportunity to kind of process and digest not only the turkey from last night, but the win, and we're going to talk about all the things that we've taken away from this game with the Seattle Seahawks. First of all, let's start with some business. The San Francisco 49ers now currently sit atop the NFC West. This is phenomenal news for the 49ers as they are sitting at the top in a pretty convincing fashion. So, actually was on Bleacher Report earlier this week talking about the path to the 1 seed. And the first thing that we talked about is it started yesterday in division with the Seattle Seahawks. And taking care of the division first was the number one priority that was standing right in front of us. The San Francisco 49ers do that. They are now in a commanding lead with a 8-3 record and so far undefeated in the NFC West. So what's next? Obviously, we know next week coming up here after the mini bye is going to be a crucial game, a game that we've all had circled on the calendar. It's the Eagles, but we aren't going to talk about them just yet. We'll get to them in a little bit later on in the show. But the San Francisco 49ers right now have the opportunity to fight for that 1 seed. And it started with the victory last night against the Seattle Seahawks. A convincing win, 31-13, as the San Francisco 49ers just absolutely obliterated a Seattle team. The 49ers absolutely dominated total yards, 377 total yards on offense compared to Seattle's 220. 49ers had 208 passing yards, and the Seattle Seahawks could only muster up 132. The 49ers absolutely dominated on the ground with 169 rushing yards to only 88 to the Seattle Seahawks. 49ers were working on a whopping 5.8 yards per play and held the Seattle Seahawks to 4.1. The 49ers dominated on first down, getting 23 first downs to Seattle's 14. One area where the 49ers can improve moving forward is being more efficient on third down, as the San Francisco 49ers only completed 5 of 11, but where they also dominated the game was at the line of scrimmage. 49ers got 6 sacks on Seattle's offensive line and Geno Smith compared to Seattle's only one. And let's start there. Let's start on the San Francisco 49ers defensive line. Man, can we talk about the addition of Chase Young? The San Francisco 49ers have 15 sacks in 3 games since Chase Young was traded for from the Washington Commanders for just a comp third pick. I don't know if it's Chase Young. I don't know if it's adjustments that have been made by Steve Wilks. I think it's a combination of both. But since Chase Young has been added to that defensive line, this defensive line has been absolutely feasting on opposing offensive lines. And they're doing it in a bunch of different ways. I think yesterday, one of the things that we saw and was really awesome to see from this defense was well-timed blitzes on third down. We saw the 49ers win 2 ways on defense up front. They would rush 4, play coverage behind, and they were able to get home with just rushing 4 defensive line. Then, like we talked about on well-timed blitzes on third down, they were sending Fred Warner. They were bringing DBs off the edge. The 49ers and Steve Wilks and this defense are humming right now. And that was definitely apparent as Seattle didn't score a touchdown on offense. Their only touchdown on the day came from a pick six. So the 49ers really kept the Seattle offense in check. Obviously, You can also look at 3 points that Seattle got because they gave up a big time return that put Seattle in field goal position right out the gate. They go 3-and-out, kick a field goal. This was a dominant performance by the defense. And it's not just the defensive line. I want to highlight one specific player who has been targeted quite frequently these last couple weeks and arguably could have been the player of the game, definitely one of the players of the games. Charvarius Ward against DK Metcalf was worth the price of admission for this game. Watching those two guys go at it, obviously we know the talent that DK Metcalf is, the size that he brings, the speed that he brings. Charvarius, aka Mooney Ward, absolutely strapped DK Metcalf in this game. Talk about clamps. He was absolutely phenomenal in this game against the Seattle Seahawks and specifically DK Metcalf. Charvarius Ward revealed after the game that Kyle Shanahan came to him and said, "You are going to mirror DK Metcalf all game. Left side, right side, you are going to follow him." And that is not typical of a 49ers defensive secondary. Typically, you've got a right cornerback and a left cornerback, and they stay on their side. But in these matchups, especially against DK Metcalf, we have seen Mooney Ward travel with DK Metcalf, and he did absolutely a phenomenal job just locking up DK for a good portion of the game. I mean, whether it was on deep shots down the field, whether it was on comeback routes, routes over the middle of the field, Charvarius Ward was there. Absolutely gutty performance by Charvarius Ward, who has been targeted frequently over these last couple weeks, and he got a big test in DK Metcalf, and he passed with flying colors. So, want to shout out Charvarius Mooney Ward for his performance against the Seattle Seahawks. Just phenomenal. The favorite play that I had of watching Mooney versus DK was that deep ball, the go route on the left sideline where DK was had a chance to potentially score, and then you just see Mooney elevate, knock that ball out. Phenomenal. Mooney really played well, but it wasn't just Mooney in the secondary. You have to give a lot of credit to Ambry Thomas. Ambry Thomas right now is one of the highest ascending players on the San Francisco 49ers. And it feels so good to say that because we have not seen Ambry Thomas really get much playing time the last year and a half. And the fact that Ambry Thomas can come in these big moments and make plays has been absolutely fantastic to see. The interception that he had undercutting the route, absolutely beautiful by Ambry right against the sideline, being able to stay in bounds, maintain the ball through the ground, and get the interception. Ambry Thomas is really flourishing, and it's really exciting to see because we know Ambry has struggled in the past. So to see him be trusted by Steve Wilks, and we know the adjustments that were made. We saw a lot of Isaiah Oliver in the nickel, and it was Ward and Diamador on the outside. Since the bye, the 49ers have switched it up. When they go into their nickel look, Diamador Lenore kicks down into the slot, and then they bring in Ambry Thomas. And this package for the defensive backs has been working. And a lot of credit has to go to Ambry Thomas, but also a lot of credit has to go to Diamador Lenore. Um, he is also playing phenomenally. His ability to go inside out is not an easy task. And so his flexibility, his versatility to be able to kick around on this defensive secondary has been huge. And you can't forget about the rookie Jair Brown having to step in for Talanoa Hufanga. Man, that is a tough task. We've identified this on previous shows that man, being having to step in for an all pro as a rookie has got to be one of the hardest tasks after not really playing all year. and he did a very serviceable job. And of course, can't talk about the defense without talking about Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw. These guys got to be the best two linebackers in the NFL. I'm not even talking about best linebacker duo. They're already the best linebacker duo. But you might have to talk about these guys as one and two in just overall off ball linebacker rankings. Fred Warner, we already know he's the prototype when it comes to the standard for NFL middle linebackers. But we need to start hyping up Dre Greenlaw. Dre Greenlaw is absolutely phenomenal. Probably the fastest sideline to sideline linebacker in the NFL. And the pairing of those two make it really, really difficult for any opposing team to run or pass over the middle. These guys have been absolutely dominant, and it's been a lot of fun to see. Uh, but man, let's do some instead of doing game balls for the defensive players, let's do some turkey legs. Let's give out some turkey legs for some defensive players. If I had to give a turkey leg, I'm giving one to Nick Bosa, 2 sacks. I'm giving a turkey leg to Javon Hargrave, who came away with a sack and a half. Javon Hargrave, by the way, has been such a phenomenal addition to the San Francisco 49ers. He really, really has been amazing up front. In fact, we're going to give the whole D line a turkey leg because Eric Armstead added a sack. Just really, really phenomenal. And of course, I'm going to give Fred Warner a turkey leg, and I'm going to give 2 turkey legs to Mooney Ward and Ambry Thomas for their performances in the secondary. The 49ers, if they can continue to play like this on defense, boy, this is going to be a hard team to beat. And we're going to talk about how this defense can truly affect this game against the Eagles coming up. So, man, what a performance last night by this defense that really had a lot of people concerned, including myself, heading into the bye week. And they have really flipped it around. And it all starts with Steve Wilks, and everyone else is doing a phenomenal job stepping in. Let's switch to the offensive side, shall we? Let's talk about some of the offensive players that really stood out in this game. One of the awesome things about Brock Purdy and what we've seen from Brock Purdy is his ability to distribute the football. Oh, we gave some turkey to Charvarius for sure. He was one of the first players we highlighted. But when it comes to Brock Purdy, man, is really proving to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And that's not hyperbole. That's not just talking to talk. Brock is playing at an extremely efficient level. Now, we understand he had the one interception. It was an interesting spot to be in where the 49ers were in the red zone, passing out of their own end zone. Ball kind of got away from him on an attempt to Christian McCaffrey, gets tipped, pick six. One of the things that is so great and needs to be understood about Brock Purdy is his unflappable nature. Yes, we can look at the throws, we can look at everything else. But one of the things that is so important, especially for a young quarterback who's still building a resume, is how they respond after making a critical mistake. And what we saw from Brock Purdy was him throw that interception and not even be phased. Both Debo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk commented on that after the game, basically saying they were asked by reporters, how does Brock Purdy act after he makes a mistake or a turnover or anything like that? And they're like, he's the same guy. He does not change. Brock Purdy is the same guy all the time. And that level of consistency of from a personal level, imagine how that will translate to an offensive unit. So when your quarterback, your signal caller, your field general is as consistent as they come in the highest and lowest moments, that can even out and build confidence amongst an entire offensive group of superstars. And Brock right now is just really, really proving a lot of the doubters wrong. I even saw a tweet from Shannon Sharp who said, "All right, Brock, with after the touchdown throw to Brandon Ayuk, he's like, you have my undivided attention now." And when we talk about Shannon Sharp, he's been one of the guys really kind of, I don't want to say discrediting Brock, but kind of pumping the brakes on maybe some of the hype around Brock. And he was under fire last week for some comments he made about Brock, basically saying all of everything that's happening for Brock is after the catch, yards after the catch, all those different types of things. And basically, he was met with the response of, "Are you watching the are you watching the games?" So clearly, Shannon Sharp was watching the game against the Seahawks, and like he said, Brock Purdy now has Shannon Sharp's undivided attention, just like everyone should have undivided attention on what Brock Purdy is doing, because what he is doing is special in such a short period of time. Obviously, we know the backstory. We know he was Mr. Irrelevant. We know how he was thrust into uh, this spot, and man, he has not looked back since. That throw that he made to Brandon Ayuk was absolutely phenomenal. Brandon Ayuk called it a dot in the post game press conference. And one of the cool things about that particular throw that Brandon Ayuk explained is that Brandon Ayuk wasn't the primary read. So there's only two routes being run on this play, and he was the secondary read. He wasn't supposed to be targeted on this play, but Brandon Ayuk also went on Eric Armstead's podcast the day before Thanksgiving, and one of the things he explained about is Brock is going to find the open guys, even if they are the last guy in the progression. Brock is so good at processing and being able to understand what defenses are showing him and being able to understand the relation to the play call that he will find the open guys. And Ayuk said he had to get used to that because the 49ers run so many clear out routes to create spacing for other players. And he was always a big time decoy because he is a deep downfield burner. So he would be used as a decoy a lot. But with Brock Purdy at quarterback, he's no longer a decoy. Anytime Ayuk is running a route, he understands that the ball could be coming his way. And that is such a big difference from what the 49ers had at quarterback. And I think, speaks to Ayuk's mindset specifically on that play where he beats Devin Witherspoon to the inside, one of the better rookie cornerbacks, one of the better quarterbacks so far statistically in the game this year, and just absolutely burns him to the inside. And Brock Purdy just puts the ball right on him as he has a defender barreling down on him. It just kind of it just kind of speaks to Brock Purdy's game in a nutshell. The 49ers have a real shot with Brock Purdy under center. But again, it's more about the quarterback. The 49ers have so many skilled players in so many different positions that they are going to stress opposing defenses mightily moving forward. You already know. Christian McCaffrey, get that man a turkey leg. He Watching these guys, you know, before I go any further on like specific offensive players and things like that, as a 49er fan, and I'm sure the 49er fans in the chat might feel the same way, this game meant more than just a random, not a random, it meant more than a typical divisional game. Obviously, We understand there's playoff seeding on the line, winning the West. That's all fine and well. But about 10 years ago, the Seattle Seahawks came to Levi Stadium in Santa Clara. They beat the San Francisco 49ers. In fact, they embarrassed the San Francisco 49ers on Thanksgiving. And then they set up a table on the logo at the 50-yard line and ate their turkey. And that has been something that has stuck with me and I know has stuck with other fans, to the point where we just called it turkey on the 50. And it was just something that really rubbed 49er fans the wrong way. And that was almost 10 years ago. And the way that this game played out, the way that they won, and then to see them eating turkey on the Seahawks home field on Thanksgiving was such a full circle moment that it really felt like whatever that like Seattle kind of clinch they may have had on us during that Harbaugh era and beyond feels like it's completely gone. And it feels like just a full circle moment as you've seen the San Francisco 49ers, you see George Kittle running off the field with the turkey, you see Debo Samuel throwing turkey legs to fans in the stands. It was such a cathartic moment, I think, for me personally and for other 49er fans, because that was such a painful moment in our recent history, and just being able to see the roles reversed, I think really was a cathartic experience. And again, just continues to build the belief in the fan base in this team and that this team can go as far as they want to go. It's up to them. That as long as they execute, play their game, play smart football, take care of the football, they can beat any team in the NFL. But sorry, that just popped into my mind. So I kind of wanted to talk about that before we continue on some of the other players who played really, really well in this game. Christian McCaffrey continues to be an absolute superstar. The fact that the San Francisco 49ers were able to trade for this guy still boggles my mind. 19 carries, 114 yards on the ground. Christian McCaffrey averaged 6 yards a carry. That's crazy. Two touchdowns on the day, and he also added 5 receptions for 25 yards. Christian McCaffrey is a superstar in this league, and the San Francisco 49ers absolutely stole him from the Carolina Panthers. He has been such a welcomed addition to this offense, and he makes things so difficult on opposing defenses. He really stresses defenses to the max. It's been absolutely phenomenal to see. And I got to shout out Debo Samuel. Debo Samuel was playing with a lot of juice against Seattle. You could see it. You could see how much this game meant to him, and having a good game meant to him. He was playing with an electric energy. He actually led the San Francisco 49ers in receiving with 7 catches and 79 yards. And then he was able to add a touchdown on the ground. Great performance by Debo Samuel. Again, it just goes to show all the weapons that the San Francisco 49ers have and how they can distribute the football to multiple stars and just really, really stress a defense. It's fantastic. And we talked about Brandon Ayuk already. He had kind of a quiet night until that touchdown. He had 2 receptions for 50 yards, and but he had that big game sealing touchdown at the end that we already discussed, and that was absolutely phenomenal to see. So I guess we got to shout out Elijah Mitchell too. We got 7 carries for Elijah Mitchell for 39 yards. He added 5.6 a carry to the 49ers run game. So it's good to see the 49ers work in some other running backs as well. I know we love Christian McCaffrey, but I know one of the big talking points is how do we keep Christian McCaffrey healthy and ready to go for this deep playoff run that we are hopeful the 49ers are going to go on. And it does look like Elijah Mitchell is getting his footing. So I got to give I got to give a lot of turkey legs out to the offense as well. I'm giving a turkey leg to Brock Purdy. I'm giving 2 turkey legs to Christian McCaffrey for his 2 touchdowns. Obviously, a turkey leg to Debo Samuel and a turkey leg to Brandon Ayuk. But I'm also going to give a turkey leg to the offensive line. The offensive line was doing a phenomenal job opening up holes for Christian McCaffrey. The fact that they lost Spencer Burford and they had to take Jonathan Feliciano, who had been filling in for Aaron Banks at left guard, move him over to right guard. The offensive line, I thought, did a more than adequate job against the Seattle Seahawks, and they deserve a big old turkey leg for the big boys up front, clearing the way in the trenches, and also keeping Brock Purdy relatively clean. Only sacked 1 time on the day. So, got to give some love to the big boys up front for how they played against the Seattle Seahawks. Overall, the takeaway from this game was, like I said, it was multi pronged. Obviously, you want to take care of your division. 49ers did that. You want to take care of a rival. 49ers did that. You want to win on Thanksgiving. 49ers did that. Cathartic win. They did that. But the job's not finished. It's just getting started. And next week, the 49ers now have a little bit, they have 3 days off, and then it's time to get ready for Philly. And that is where this is going to be one of the biggest moments of the season. We understand what it is. We know the storylines. We know the trash talking that happened. We know the back and forth between players, between fans. This game is serious. This game means a lot, especially with how it ended last year in the NFC Championship game. So, they're going to take these 3 days, they're going to rest up, and then they are going to prepare for the biggest game of the season. Ooh, boy, I'm ready. So 49ers are 1-0 in the Bird Gauntlet so far. And we got to see, we got to see what team we get against the Eagles. Now, I believe the Eagles are going to be playing the Bills this Sunday. So that the Eagles have a 2-game lead in the NFC standings. If we can somehow get a Bills victory and then the 49ers can tack on another victory, they have a amazing shot to get the 1 seed, which is what they have wanted all along, to be able to get home field advantage through the playoffs and to get a first round bye. And so that's why this game against Seattle was huge, to be able to get this one and check it off. And now they have to go to Philly, and where that whole situation went down in the NFC Championship game, and they have an opportunity to correct what happened in that game. So this is going to be a huge, huge week as the 49ers get prepared for the biggest game of the season for them. And it's going to be must see TV. Really, really looking forward to that particular game. But man, what a win for the San Francisco 49ers on Thanksgiving. Hopefully, you guys are having a phenomenal start to your Victory Friday. Um, feels good, feels great. 49ers continue to get back on track. And the best thing is, there's still room for them to get even better. And that couldn't come at a better time, especially with Philly around the corner. The 49ers have been absolutely cooking out of the bye, dominating everyone they faced. 49ers dominated the Jags. They took care of the Browns at home. They go on the road and dominate Seattle. It's been it's been a good performance from this team, a great performance outside the bye when there was a lot of concerns with the 3-game losing streak, and they have corrected. They have done a 180. The defense has done a complete 180. Brock and the offense continue to be consistent and they continue to score points, making that 31 on the day. So, can the 49ers continue this type of run that they are on in Philly next week? I think they can, but we already know it's not going to be a walk in the park. So, shout out to everyone for tapping in on the Victory Friday, day after Thanksgiving reaction show. My name is Brad Graham. You can find me on the SF9ers across all platforms. You find me on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, wherever, and you'll find me posting 49ers content. I appreciate all you guys. Always good vibing on Bleacher Report. And I can't wait until the 49ers face the Eagles. Enjoy your Friday. Enjoy this win and enjoy your time with your family. For now, I'm out of here. Peace and enjoy your weekend.